Stop.
Okay.
Oh.
You want the cat?
Yes, I do. Wait, no, Kitty, don't smile. Oh, it's cute!
Happy trails! Katie, stop! Can I just draw something on her back really quick?
No.
What are you drawing? Brownie.
And then like...
You're recording me!
I remember feeling terrified when I learned we had to change out for gym class in locker rooms. For both years of middle school, I changed in the bathroom tucked away from my peers, too ashamed and embarrassed to undress in front of others who were most likely feeling the same way I was. To cope with the trauma of existing as a body-conscious preteen, I obsessively read Chicken Soup for the Teen Girl's Soul in an effort to suffer alongside others' lived experiences. Learning how to live in a body is a process of unlearning and relearning that we both individually and collectively experience from a young age. Through several anonymous recollections of memories from youth, this film illustrates the embarrassing, absurd, and inevitable learning process of existing in a human body.
I feel like I didn't really get any education from like my parents at all. Like my mom kind of like just pretended that stuff wasn't like very real. But I had like a friend who was just like a year older than me and was like very comfortable with like being a person in a body and like being a girl. And like I feel like that made me feel a lot of pressure to like understand my body like even before I should have. Like I just remember shaving my leg because she was older than me. I just like feel like I shaved my legs really young and was like aware of the way that my body looked and was like thinking about like wanting to have boobs. Like I don't know, I guess all girls do that, but I think it happened really young. And then I kind of like exerted myself a lot with it when I was really young also because I just was like, this is what I'm doing. I don't know.
I think the first time that I recognized that I had a body was probably the first time that I remember being sick, which was in preschool. I think I was either 3 or 4 years old. I think 3. And I had a very bad fever, and it caused me to have horrible nightmares, and I still, to this day, frequently have very vivid dreams and nightmares. And the nightmare that I specifically remember was this man in all green with a metallic, like metal mohawk in like this green suit, and he was chasing me and my older brother around in my dream, and we were hiding, and we were just trying to hide everywhere. And I remember when I woke up that it was like the fever dream that caused the vivid aspect of it to be there. So that was kind of the first time I ever really realized how my body could work kind of against me almost. And I guess another time that I realized the actuality of my body was I would always get ulcers in my mouth, and I think it was due to like hand, foot, and mouth when I was younger. And I would always be like up late at night like crying because I couldn't fall asleep because my mouth was like covered in ulcers. So it was like my gums and my tongue, like the inside of my mouth, my lips were always like had ulcers on them. So I remember being up late at night like crying to my mom because my mouth hurt so bad. And that was when I like kind of realized another time that your body isn't always working with you. It sometimes works kind of against you.
One of the most formative memories I have learning how to inhabit a body or how I want to inhabit a body is when I was in 2nd grade, I think, and I got really into fashion design, and I would make my parents go to the grocery store and buy me Elle magazine, and I would flip through the pages, rip things out, and just really idolize the way that the models, specifically female models, looked in those magazines. And I thought that that was the most aspirational way to be in a body. The way they posed and just the fantasy world that they inhabited in those pages was really formative to me.
I guess I started learning about like bodies and like becoming more conscious of that when I was like a toddler. My brother and sister were babies, so I was probably like 3 or 4, and I remember like being in the bathroom and asking, you know, just like I would ask my mom questions about random stuff, and I was telling her that I was going to have like babies, and because I was with her through her entire pregnancy, like I remember like, you know, seeing her get bigger, and I was like, oh, like, wow, I'm going to be pregnant one day. And she's like, no, that's not how it works. You can't, like, boys don't get pregnant. I was like, well, I don't care what you say. Like, I'm going to get pregnant. And trust me, I've tried, but no. No. But she was like, no, like, and she tried to explain to me the difference between boys and girls. And I, like, didn't quite understand. The only difference that I thought, like, I saw between boys and girls was, like, girls had long hair and boys had short hair.
Well, I've had a body for a very long time, so I've had to know how to be inside of it. From a very young age, I would have said that my cousin helped me know who I wanted to be in my body, because we wanted to be in each other's bodies. And we wanted the perks of being in another body, both. However, past those years, I would say around 2008, 2009, I learned about a certain princess coming into the world. A certain gaga fixation was created in my mind, and I thought, ooh, my body is feeling out a gaga. You know, so I was feeling the bad romance on my iPod Nano every day. We would listen, we would watch, we would see, oh yes, leg here, hip here, you know, cinch, baby, you know, roof, a little monster in me, and there we went. And you know, since then, a little Britney went in there. I mean, around that time it was circus, you know, a big comeback era. And there was a little Mariah coming in there, and, you know, a lot of icons gracing the stage during this time. I would say my inhabitation of my body was myself, but seeing others as they grew comfortable in the resurrection.
I grew up in, like, a really small town. I went to Christian school, and I only have one friend. And she had 5 sisters. I only have one brother. So I remember I'd spend a lot of time at her house. Like, little kids, you stay at someone's house for like 2 days sometimes. I don't know, maybe that wasn't it, but that's how it would be. But since she had 5 sisters and there was only 2 bathrooms, only one had a shower, your showers were timed. So whenever I stayed at her house, we had to shower together because we only got 15 minutes to shower. So I remember one time, we had always showered together. Like, it was never weird. But I remember one time we got in the shower, and, like, she took all her clothes off, we got in the shower, and I noticed that she was shaved. I had never shaven any part of my body before. I had, like, full arm hair, full leg hair, full armpit hair. And so I just remember we got in the shower and I became like hyper aware of how she didn't have any hair on her body. So I turn away from her and I just shave my entire leg pubes off right in the shower with her. I just turn away from her and shave my pubes right there. And then turn back around like nothing ever happened.
We had this big, old chunky desktop in our living room, and people wouldn't always go into the living room, so I would go in there when no one was looking. I would Google boobs, and then I would immediately delete my browser history. But my mom would start to get suspicious. She'd be like, every time I log on the computer, all my information's gone, my search history's gone. It's blank. Where is it? Where's the information? I wouldn't tell her, but she'd get pretty mad. She's like, if I see you delete the search history one more time, you're going to be in big trouble. I'd do this on her laptop, too. I would take my mom's laptop, go to my room, you know, I would spank a little shampoo my pee-pee. Funnily enough, so the shampoo had an adverse effect. I would use the shampoo and think I had an allergic reaction. It's pretty horrible. While learning about my body, an allergic reaction to the shampoo, and all the skin peeled off my penis. All of it. It was terrifying. I had these horrible, gigantic warts. I was like, it can't be an STD. I have never had sex. I've never hugged a girl. But I had these huge warts. I was like, what's going on? Why is all my skin just flaking off? Well, turns out I was Googling boobies and using shampoo, and my body didn't like the shampoo. So it didn't go too well. So then I upgraded. When my mom got a little too suspicious, I got a PSP. Now, PSP is what's known as a PlayStation Portable Playing Device. Yeah, PSPs. You play games, you can Google, you do all sorts of things. Back in the day, I was very evangelical Christian, so I would still spank my weenie, but when I spanked my weenie, I would only do it to either my Christian sex ed book or to Googling the Playboy website, but only looking at the boobs and staying away from the vagina. Now, the reason why was, with the Playboy website, I thought the vagina was sinful to look at, but the boobs were okay, so zoom up at the nipples. Sometimes I would go to wikipedia.com, and I would Google breasts, and I would look at the breast image on there. It's still up there today. It looks great. And I would just look at that. It's like, okay, that's enough for me. So eventually the PSP, as I was searching the nipples on the PSP, eventually it froze. So I was like, oh shit, I'm fucked. What am I going to do? If I ask someone for help and they turn on my frozen PSP and they see a boob, I'm getting grounded. So what I ended up doing is I turned the PSP off, and I was like, well, no one can know my secret. So I took the battery out of my PSP, and we had a large backyard with a tree under it. I took the battery and I threw it under a tree. I didn't want anyone to put the battery back in and to be like, oh shit, Kevin was looking up a single nipple.
It's Savannah versus Jenna. Oh, Savannah failed.
Who am I versus?
I don't know. Oh, that's Jenna.
It's me.
Sienna versus Katie. Sienna should be at an advantage. Oh, Katie fell. She's down for the count. And Savannah fell too. Sienna's still standing, but she's not